Can't be contained.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm sitting here in Park City, Utah, which is one of my favorite places in the world. Fun little fact, Eric and I spent a month here during COVID. It's actually where my book was launched. Like when my publishing date came out, when my book came out, we were in Park City. So we were walking around the city yesterday, and I just remember going to all the little cafes and just celebrating and having so much fun. Park City's such a freaking vibe. It's just so interesting to find those places where your soul just relaxes a little bit. There's really something to this. Like there's certain places in the world, like Bali is one of them for me, obviously. Park City is one of them. Actually, my hometown, Vancouver, is one of them. Obviously, where I live now, San Diego is one of them. But it's just so interesting to feel how your body feels in different places of the world. It's just, that's why I love traveling so much, because I feel like I get to tap into new energies, or like there's energy inside of me that is amplified when I'm in certain places. It's just so fun. So anyways, Park City is a vibe if you haven't been here. I then rolled down a hill. I rolled my ankle, sprained my ankle, rolled down a hill. And I was like, you know, those moments where you're in so much pain, but it's also extremely hilarious. I'm like, I cannot believe I just did that. Like, I literally like rolled down this hill in so much pain. And I'm like, gosh. And right away, my awareness is like, Sam, what's the lesson? You know what the lesson was? The lesson is be present and watch out for stumps. That's the lesson. All right, you guys, I'm so freaking excited for this episode. I got to sit down with one of my dear friends, Julie Solomon. I've admired her for years. She's just so freaking smart. Like whenever I'm in a mastermind with Julie and she speaks, I'm like, you're just insanely smart. So I'm so grateful that we had a chance to sit down. She is a powerhouse in the world of personal branding, marketing, visibility. And if you've ever struggled with your own voice, if you've ever struggled with monetizing your message or overcoming imposter syndrome, or just not feeling like you have the like flexibility and the flow in just communicating your message, this episode, I swear to you, is going to be your medicine. I actually listened to it for the second time because the first time I was just so enthralled. The second time I listened to it, I was taking notes because everything she had to share in this episode is just pure gold. We go into what it really means to be seen, how to lead from just this authentic place of power, and how to create aligned success in a freaking noisy world, which this world is noisy. And so, I don't know, my definition of success these days is just making money in a way that feels so good, making money in a way that feels so aligned, like doing what my soul is here to do and doing it in a way where I'm like, yes, this. And in fact, if you want a little bit more of that, I'm running a 3-day challenge. It is the biggest challenge of the year. We are going to have hundreds of people going through this challenge, and it's over 3 days. Day 1 is all around income, how you can make money doing the thing that you love. Day 2 is all around how you make impact in your clients, like truly making impact, not just giving them information, but giving your clients true transformation. And then day 3 is all about building a business that feels like freedom, building a business that lights your freaking soul on fire. So that is August 4th, 5th, and 6th. It's all online. It's all live. It's going to be a freaking party. Obviously, it's an event that I run, so there's going to be dance parties and lots of energy and just like so much fun and community. Mark my words, do not miss this. It's going to be extraordinary. I'm so freaking excited. Head on over to pausebreathwork.com/challenge. That's pausebreathwork.com/challenge. Or you can literally just DM me or comment the word challenge on any one of my Instagram posts, and I'll send you the link to join us. I'm so pumped. I can't wait to see you there. And now let's get right into today's episode with Julie Solomon.
Can't be contained.
That's what I'm talking about.
Sweet babe, let's go.
Okay. It's gonna
I'm
be fun.
so happy that we're sitting down to have a conversation today. How are you?
I'm so good. I feel like this has been such a long time coming in a lot of ways, and also the perfect time. And any morsel of moments that I can get of Samantha Skelly, I'm gonna take it all because it's so good. So thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. What do you feel is making you feel most alive today?
What is making me feel most alive today is honoring my truth
Mm.
over any past or present feeling that I ever have to perform.
Oh, baby, double click for me into that. Tell me
Mm.
more.
It's been this beautiful ride of just a journey that, and you get it because you've been on this road for a long time. Journey as an online business owner, as a creative, as an entrepreneur, as a coach, and also a journey that I'm seeing happen in tandem a lot with the women in my coaching spaces of this shedding, because this is a big shedding year for people, of this shedding of these old beliefs, these old truths, these old ways in which we might have shown up, or we might have done the work, or we might have spoken or messaged that just isn't working anymore. It's just not in alignment. And I think for a long time, it's really easy to kind of gaslight yourself out of that.
Yeah.
And we kind of try to force like sanding the edges of our soul to fit something that just isn't, it's evolved.
Well
And
said.
so I'm really proud of myself. And I feel so alive in myself right now because over this last year, I turned 40 last year, and it really just made me kind of root into the fact that my ambitions were changing and that was okay. And things were shifting and aligning and how I wanted to show up, and the discernment around proximity and access and reciprocity and like what all that really meant. And when I got really honest with myself, there was a lot of performing that happened in the earlier stages and in the growth stages of my business. And again, it's no judgment, but it needed to happen at the time. My ego needed it. My fears needed it. All of these parts of myself needed that to really kind of push through and create the thing and make the thing and be visible. But it just doesn't serve me anymore. And so I've really been rooting into over the last really 18 months, but really this year, about what does presence actually mean to me, and how is that the antidote or the antithesis of what might have been more of a performance way of me showing up and doing things in the past. And not that it wasn't real,
Yeah. Yeah.
not that the performing wasn't real, but it was something that I no longer need. And it actually feels way more clean and integrity to really root into this idea of what presence does mean to me and for my spaces and for my business and for my community. And the more that I deepen into that and without judgment and really just discernment, the more I feel alive in the work that I'm doing.
Oh, that's so good. I got goosebumps from that. I feel there's this wave of so many women reorienting to truth and, to use your words, like shedding away the archaic pieces of us that we thought we needed to be in order to develop the business or be a certain way or whatever it is. And it's like now more than ever, I feel like so many conversations that I'm in with like our friendship group and our circle, it's like there's like a zero tolerance for anything other than truth. And I love that you said performative, because that's exactly what it is. It's like this energy of like doing something to get versus like just the beingness and the purity of just like presence and truth. Oh, it's so good. So
It really is. And breath helps with that.
nice plug there. Thanks for
It
that.
does. It does, my friends. Who would have thunk it? Breathing.
A couple months ago, you and I were going back in the DM talking about how we've just started doing things that are not productive. Like I was sharing with you, like I started doing pottery, just to like doing things that just are the only sole purpose of that activity is for my soul. I'm not even a good potter. It's just simply just for my soul, doing things that just feel like pure play. And just making art that I don't monetize, making things just create for the sake of creation, and the internet doesn't know. And that's been just like such a homecoming for me recently. It's been so good.
I've been rooting into some of that myself with was actually I'll share a conversation that I had with a good friend that's in this space, and then kind of how it's been showing up in my life. But I had a really good friend of mine, and we were talking about ambitions changing, and I was kind of sharing with her, I've been hearing in my community a lot that we keep feeling this sense of boredom, for lack of a better word, in our business, and we make that mean something negative about the business. And so I started to kind of see this pattern with my clients that they would go and like, oh, I need to like fix this offer, or I need to like do this marketing thing, or I need to change this, or maybe I need to hire this person. And then they kind of get in that perpetual, more of that doing hustle phase again, instead of realizing that maybe you're quote unquote bored in your business because it's actually finally working and in flow.
Yeah.
And maybe you have kind of pulled back all the things that weren't in service. And maybe this is actually the universe's way of telling you that we don't need to have this expectation of being 110% creatively filled in one area of our lives. If our business grants us that and gives us that, that's beautiful. But, we should also kind of be looking outside of that for things. And so I was talking to a girlfriend of mine who's a life coach in this space and very successful. And she agreed. She was like, it would be so easy for me to feel that way as well, but I can't burn down my business because it affords me the beautiful life that I have. And she said, but I do have this creative outlet. And so what she did is she started writing erotica novels under this pseudonym.
Great.
And it's
Oh my
just
God, I
like,
love it.
it's
I
giving
love
her so much life, and she's having so much fun, and she's hired this editor. And this is someone who has also written books in the self-development and self-help space herself. So, but she's like, it's not about that. Like, I am doing this for me and to fill me up and to inspire me and to get my creative juices flowing, because the business is what it is in this stage. And I still need to feel creatively full, but I'm not going to expect, the same business that I've now been running for almost 10 years to give me that at the extent that I need it right now. And so that actually kind of it was an expander for me and gave me permission to drop into some things that I've wanted to do. So I started picking up French again. I used to take it in college, and I've started
French,
to
like the language.
French, the language. Yes.
Wow.
I just to be able to conversationally
so
speak
great.
it when I'm there. And then another thing that I was really excited to do, I live in Nashville, Tennessee, which is the songwriting capital of the world. And I was like, I'm going to take some songwriting classes because I love to write. Messaging is my jam. It's what I do. And songwriting is such a unique and different flavor to storytelling and to sharing your voice and to sharing message. And I'm like, I'm going to take some songwriting classes and like learn the creative nuances of songwriting and what will that just unlock for me. And so that's been really fun. And just
so great.
Giving myself the permission to do that, because so many of us don't. And instead, again, we just kind of gaslight ourselves into thinking that something's wrong. We make that mean something negative instead of really seeing it as maybe this nudge from the universe to expand out a little bit and get curious about what else is available to us.
Okay, so when you go into those sessions, do you have something that's on your heart, like, oh, I want to write a song about this, or something that you're moving through? Or do you just sort of let yourself channel? Like, how does I like break it down?
So some of the classes that I have been in and workshops, it's kind of a twofold. You can kind of come in with an idea or concept, or to kind of help you really learn the structure of songwriting. They will give you an idea or concept, and then you'll kind of like run with that. And so, and it's interesting because some people find that they're better melodically or they're better lyrically. I have found that lyrically is more my thing. But then you can kind of find the melody into it. And I can see how it would be very addicting. Like, I can see how the Taylor Swifts of the world just write songs all the time because it's such a different form of expression of the soul, just like pottery can be, photography, whatever that is for you. So I would, really encourage anyone who may feel like ambitions are changing. Maybe you're bored. Maybe you're judging yourself for that. Maybe you just need to allow yourself to get curious about something completely wild and different and creative that you could do.
The Tuesday version of me thought it was a really good idea to commit the Thursday version of me to a jiu-jitsu class tonight, and I'm like so regretting it.
You're like, thanks. Great.
I'm like,
Great.
Skelly, why did you do that? I'm like,
do
oh
that?
God, here we go.
But it's going to be fun.
Oh
and
my
like,
God, we'll
I
see.
do my Pilates and it keeps me connected. Like, yeah, we've got to have more than just
Business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for high achievers and high performers,
Yes.
having more than that, it's like this thing that for me, I had to remember that part of myself. That's like, oh, right. Like I can be excited about things other than my business. I can focus on things other than my business. And of course I have 2 kids and a family, but it's like for so long it was family business, family business, family business.
Yeah.
And I'm really expanding beyond that in this season, and it feels really good.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, I love that nuance that you shared of like boredom is actually good. Like let it be, let it feel regulated. You know, and that's
Mm.
another thing I think so often we can confuse boredom with regulation. Like regulation just feels calm. It feels grounding. I remember when my husband and I first met, he was so regulating for my nervous system. Like I didn't feel the like, is he gonna leave? Is he gonna text me back? Like, does he love
Mhm.
me? Does he not? He was just so clear, so grounded, so communicative, like so present. And my like the unhealed parts of me were like, yeah, this is really boring. And then all of my friends were like, no, that's just what
No.
healthy love feels like. And that same thing can play out in business. So that's so interesting. You and I've been in this game for a long, 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 long time. I think I first heard about you probably a decade ago. I'm assuming
Mm.
when how long
Yeah.
have you been doing this thing now for?
I got on the online space. I got on Instagram in forms of as a business in 2014, and then
Okay.
I started online education 2016, started
Okay.
my podcast 2017.
Okay. Yeah, our timelines are exactly the same. That makes so much sense. And you're someone that I've always thought of as someone who's just like in impeccable like at messaging and clarity and branding. It's just like you know who you are, you know who you're speaking to, you know the problems that you're trying to solve and or you are solving. And so I think one of the biggest things for the women that I work with in our pause community is just like they don't have that locked and loaded. So there's always
Mm.
this feeling of like I don't know who I am and I don't know what I'm speaking to and I don't know about this. And you've dialed this in so much and you've dialed it in for like over a decade now. So I'm curious, what are some of the practices or what are some of the things that you do to really get so crystal clear on who you are and who you're speaking to?
So, I say that my journey to this kind of came by it honestly and boringly because I went to college for it. I went to school for it. I got a degree in it,
You
believe it or
did?
not. I
Wow.
did.
I think you're
Which
the
is
first
crazy.
person I met.
So I did. I majored in journalism with a minor in it was digital marketing at the time,
Are you
which is not.
serious? That's a thing.
Yes, it's a thing. It was
I've
journalism and electronic media, and with a minor in digital marketing and like communications, and I went straight into publicity, and I was a publicist in corporate and agency America until I came into the online space. So I had even before that, about 7 years of just this very kind of traditional, foundational background in understanding communication,
Mhm.
messaging, voice, what makes people tick. And I had a flair of it also from a creative aspect because as a publicist, my first job I worked at an agency in New York City where we worked with a lot of top artists, musicians. So Lenny Kravitz, Pink, Maroon 5, like these were the clients that
Yeah.
I got to work with. And so I really saw early on how voice and message and perception really cultivated and created a unique brand for someone and visibility for someone. And so it served me really well coming into the online space. First, I helped women figure out how to better pitch themselves. And then, of course, that's evolved just into all of the dynamics that messaging really touches. And to kind of get to your question of that, and I wanted to share my background because the lens that I look through it comes really from that. But I believe that really messaging it is how you effectively, uniquely articulate your brilliance to the world. And part of that uniqueness of the articulation is really what creates perception. And that's really what a brand is at the end of the day. A brand is just the perception of whatever messaging, whether it's audio, visual,
Yeah.
static, digital, whatever kind of message that you are putting out there. And as long as it's corralled, Sam, mostly to where people want it to be, then like we're good to go. But most of the time, it's not corralled. And the reasons for that could be strategic. It could be lack of confidence, lack of clarity. It could be scarcity mindset. Like there's so many different
Yeah.
things that kind of shape our own perception,
Yeah.
which then shapes the perception that we put out there. And so what I really love to help women with is messaging. And there's strategy, We always talk the strategies and the frameworks, but what really needs to happen first, a lot of times with the women that I work with, and the women that I work with, they usually come to me. They've been doing this for a while. They're not new to the game. They've been at this for a while, but they can't seem to, they've kind of gotten themselves to a certain level and they can't seem to kind of unlock the next phase. And what we usually uncover is that, yeah, there are some strategic components that they probably need to like learn root more into, but it's really about an identity recalibration. And 9 times out of 10, it's this proverbial glass ceiling that these women have imposed on themselves, and they can't seem to crack it open because there is a recalibration that needs to happen with their identity first so that they can actually effectively mirror that back to who their most premium, most juiciest, most incredible client is. And that's not always how we're traditionally kind of taught to think of it. A lot of times people hear that saying of like, you're just serving a former version of yourself. And so you need to speak to that former version and create offers for that former version. But I don't actually technically agree with that. I don't think that we should be so past focused and serving a former version of ourselves. I think it's really about mirroring back the highest version of who we are so we can be that calibrator and that permission slip for the magnetism.
That's
to come through.
so good. That is so good. It's like it's more like aspirational than looking back in our timeline, which actually is going to drop our energy a little bit when we do that.
Boom.
Oh,
Boom.
thanks,
Because you're
sis.
coming in with this,
Yes.
because you're actually having to go back to a former identity of yourself that actually no longer exists that you've already shed, which that's what creates all of these strategic and energetic mismatches. Because you're like, I don't know why I'm calling in a bunch of people who can't afford my services. I don't know why I'm calling in a bunch of people who are not calibrated mind, body, and spirit to do this kind of work with me. I don't know why. And it's like, because you're talking, and there's nothing wrong with that former version of who you are. That's just not where you are. So it's really about, and I talk a lot about mirror messaging, and it's all about that identity messaging, that the most premium ideal client that you will have is never a former version of you. They're always the highest version of who you are. And that's really what the universe and what our work and what our the essence of who we are as a brand and what our voice is calling us into, that highest version of who we are. So if we can start to mirror her, we're actually going to have not only just a more beautiful, fun, abundant business, but we're actually going to be able to help clients transform at a much higher frequency and a much cleaner frequency.
Oh my gosh, this is so good. I literally have full body goosebumps, and I'll share something that it just had like a whoa for me. When I was running Hungry for Happiness and I was helping women who struggled with emotional eating and body image issues, babe, I gained 25 pounds because I like not meaning to, but like I was like, I need to relate, I need to relate, I need to relate. And I was like getting down in this energy of just like scarcity and all this stuff. And like as soon as I like freed myself from that, I just the weight dropped. It was so crazy. And I did not realize that while I was in it. But when I got out of it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so wild. That is so wild.
It is. And it's like, that's why we don't, so many times we get so past focus. And I'm like, why are we, what got you here from the past is not going to get you there. So why are we going back there? Or why are we staying stuck there? Or why are we trying to serve from that place when we've already evolved and moved past so many layers of that? And so it's not surprising at all that happened. I have similar situations where I've been serving a former version of me and I'm like, why do I feel all of these things that like I thought I had healed? I thought I had calibrated. I thought I had worked through, but yet I'm going back, and it's because I'm in that energy. I'm in that messaging. I'm in that voice. So obviously it's going to manifest into reality as well.
Oh man, this is so good. Okay, so we take where we want to go and the future version of us, and that becomes the avatar. And then we're just speaking to her, embodying, oh my gosh, this is so juicy. And then energetically, people are going to feel that on Instagram, on podcasts, on YouTube, whatever it is. And they're like, whoa, I want that.
Exactly.
Oh, let's go. Okay, can we give the audience some pointers for you really like you embody authenticity. You know, you're just like, here I am, and it's effortless, and it's like, it's so fun watching you. It's so like, it's so you. And many women are very reserved on Instagram. They don't do that. They're not like, I know the word authenticity is like watered down these days, but they're not authentic. They're just like a little bit performative, or they're posturing as like a safe version of them, and they're not fully who they are because they fear maybe it's not professional or whatever it is. So what's your belief system? What do you embody? What do you choose to, like what's the
You?
identity that you choose? Yeah, to be
Yeah.
able to show up just with fluidity in your energy.
Yeah. Well, feeling that way makes a lot of sense. And it's really common, especially when you're playing small because you're trying to serve a former version of yourself who probably used to play small. So the fact that you're trying to compact yourself down to be quote unquote safer or more digestible for this audience that really you're not meant to be serving. So the first piece that we talked about is like really rooting into who who is the highest version of my ideal client, and like what does her day-to-day life look like, because she's still going to have challenges, she's still going to have the nuances to how she shows up in the world and the contrast to that, and all of those things. So what are some of the common physical, emotional, behavioral patterns of the highest version of my client, not the past version of my client, but that highest version. And you can write those down. And I talk about going really micro. So it's not about like, she's full of confidence. Okay, well, why is she full of confidence? She's full of confidence because she's already mastered or already overcome X, Y, and Z. So like, let's take the weight
Yeah.
analogy for an example. So the past version of somebody like that would be someone who continues to struggle with weight. She's always in pain. There's probably a lot of emotional baggage that she hasn't quite gone through yet. So really, no matter what she does physically, the likelihood of the weight either falling off or staying off is going to be a lot more minimal than someone who maybe they've had some weight problems in the past, but they have done the initial emotional recalibration that's necessary to feel worthy, to feel their best. And because of that, they're now ready to step in to this more embodied place to feel their best. It's not about a certain size or a certain weight on the scale. It's about truly feeling mind, body, and spirit as healthy as they can. That would be the highest version of anyone. So as we're thinking about that with weight, for example, what would that person then, we know what they've already overcome. What's the next challenge? So the next challenge may say, okay, well, instead of the challenges, she doesn't believe that she can lose weight, because that person is going to be a lot harder to convert and a lot harder to help when she doesn't believe that herself. The highest version of that person already believes that it's possible for them, but maybe she doesn't have the tools, the community, the strategies, the protocols to get her there. That's where you come in. And so, and for those speaking, just, no matter what it is that you may help people solve, it's really about knowing that, but less focus on the pain and more focus again on that desire. And that's another thing that we work on a lot in my world, is that a lot of people they're either they're talking too much to a past version of themselves, which then makes the messaging that they create very pain-based focused.
Yes.
And pain point marketing works. Like, I learned about it in college, right? It works, but it takes
In my digital marketing class.
And my digital marketing class, I learned about it. I know, right? It's like aging myself.
I love it.
But the thing with pain point marketing is that it takes so much longer to poke that bear, because you are working with someone who has not psychologically and emotionally made that choice themselves to believe in something different that you can then help them with. We can't necessarily force someone out of a deep rooted belief that they haven't walked through the fire, so to speak, first to rise. So we need them to be a little bit farther along in the journey to properly and effectively help them at the highest good of all. So that's the first thing, is that if you find yourself focusing too much on the pain point marketing, guess what you're going to do? You're going to call in a bunch of people who are in pain
100%.
and not necessarily looking for whatever their antithesis of pain is, the pleasure, the freedom, the desire, whatever that is.
Yeah, it's so wild. Like, we've split test this with our live webinars. Like, the main way that we bring in people for our breathwork facilitator program is through live event conversions. We've done that for 7 years, and it's just the amount of webinars I've done is actually crazy. But we really test messaging and then like feel into the audience. So like when we do any sort of like pain-based anything with those webinars, and that's in our ad copy and our messaging and our emails, our sales team is like, Sam, what is with these leads? Like they
Right.
convert at like 10%. And then when we do messaging, like aspirational messaging about like who they're becoming and their spiritual gifts that they want to share with the world, and like, wouldn't it be amazing if, and wouldn't it be amazing if, and imagine this, like the quality of people on the sales calls, they're just ready to go because they're like, that's me, that's me, that's me. But it's so interesting because yeah, typically traditional marketing is like, speak to the pains, like put some salt in the wounds and then they'll convert. It's
Yep.
actually hard.
And it's like also the thing that we have to be aware of too is that pain point marketing works. Like you probably get a lot of leads that come and they probably show up to the webinar, but the energy of that, they're not ready. They're not buyers. They're looking for someone to validate their pain because that's their payoff of staying in the pain.
Yes, yes,
And
yes,
they
yes.
need someone to reflect the identity that they are in, that they are too comfortable, whether they want to admit it or not, in getting out of that. Versus the word that you used, Sam, was quality. I would rather have 100 quality, ready to buy, highest premium clients on a webinar than 10,000 people that came through pain point marketing, because I've been down that road. You have too. We know what happens. It is so much harder to get those people to believe in themselves and believe. People need to do two things. They need to believe in themselves enough to go through your process, and then they need to trust you enough to believe that their process would work for them. Usually people that are attracted to pain point marketing have a hard time believing either of those things, which makes it really, really hard to get them to say yes to whatever it is that you're selling. And you could discount it. You could do all the scarcity tax. It doesn't matter. You could give it to them for free. They're still not doing it.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I always like what I've been in the practice this year of really asking myself, would I click on that? Would I do that? I don't subscribe to pain-based marketing. Like whenever people do that and I get an email like that, I'm like, get out of here. Like that's literally how I feel. I'm like, ugh.
Right.
But then when I get someone's email and it's aspirational and it's helping me see a future version of myself, I get this like aliveness and this like champagne bubbly feeling in my body. I'm like, whatever that is, I'm so in, right?
I'm
And
in.
that's like the energy exchange of just like holding a vision and letting people, it's permissioning people into their greatness at the end of the day through
A
marketing.
million percent. And so for those listening, it's like we have to really get clear on the specifics. Again, go micro about what are those desires. It's not just to lose weight or be confident or feel like yourself again. It's like, no, my person wants to be able to finally pull those jeans out of the back of her closet that she's been holding back there for 5 years, waiting for that magical day to know that she's going to put them on in front of the mirror and she's going to feel so good, so sexy, so alive. And that feeling that she's going to have in that moment is literally undescribable. And we as women know that feeling. We know what that is. But it's you getting that micro. So I didn't say for all those women that are ready to lose weight and keep it off. It's like, no, for the woman that has that dress, that has that pair of jeans in the back of the closet, and she knows that now is the time, and she has done the work on her belief system, on her worthiness, on her body to know that now is the time to not only take those jeans out and put them on, but to keep them on. And that's what we're going to be doing in today's conversation. That is such a different energy that like comes through instead of just let's lose 10 pounds and keep it off with my GLP-1s and my this and that and my it's like, whatever the asset is, it could be GLP-1s. It could be a weight loss protocol. It could be walking. It could be affirmations that tell you to lose 5 pounds every single day. It doesn't matter what that is, but it's how you bring that energy and that essence to the table. And it's also how you embody it in your day-to-day life as well.
Yes, yes. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Let's double click into that because I think that is so much of the missing link for people is the embodiment when you're not doing the thing on Instagram, when you're not on a podcast. Like, can you embody the future version of yours? Okay, go. I want to hear more.
Yep. So and I have to remind myself of this. I mean, sometimes it's like 1 hour at a time, Sam, depending on the day. But every single day I wake up and it's not always perfect. Like I've got, I do breath work, I meditate, I journal, I listen to affirmation. Like I do all the things that everybody does, but I'm very intuitive and I listen to what my body needs in that day. But one thing that I always try to tap into, whether anyone ever sees it or hears it on Instagram or not, just in my day-to-day life as a mother, as a wife, as a daughter, as a friend, as a business owner, is when I have to make any kind of decision that I am feeling contrast, that I feel myself maybe playing safe, maybe being small. There's just a part of me, even if it's 1%, there's this 1% part of me that's like, you don't believe it's going to happen, do you?
Yeah.
You don't think that you're ready. You don't think that you're worthy. You don't think nobody's going to buy. You don't think no one's going to show up. Even if it's just 1%, I pause, breathe, pause, and I just say to myself, be her now. Just be her now. What would she do? How would she respond to that email? What would she think in this moment? Even if she was afraid, be her now. And that is always the thing that recalibrates me out of that past self version into the highest self that I can be.
Oh my God. That's it, it's like you're commanding your energetics to pull forth a future version that you've already premeditated, you already know. So it's not, you're not like searching for her in that moment, right? You already know who she is. You're just commanding her with your energy.
Just be her. Like I have to give myself permission to be here because I am her. I
Yeah.
already am her. We just kind of have to, sometimes the brain likes to, think what it thinks. And so we have to re-psych ourselves into that. And I've got to be her now in full embodiment, and how I show up in my day-to-day life, and how I respond to my husband, and how I respond to my children, and how I, just navigate life. And that's really where we go back to the presence piece, to where it's not performative, because this is connected in all walks of life. Like you can't just be her now in business and then be Hot Mess Express at home.
Right.
You can't just be her now at your children's school and then not be her when you're having a conversation with your husband. You've got to be her now in every single aspect. And there are some days, Sam, where I F it up and I ain't her. And it ain't cute.
Her today.
I ain't her today and it ain't cute. And, I did not show up as my highest self. But in that moment, it's about the awareness to be like, I didn't do it in that moment. I got scared. I future tripped. I wanted to control something. I was afraid. Okay, cool. Now, moving forward, what would I do differently?
Totally.
And then just taking that with me step by step by step. It takes it's an interesting balance for me, Sam. Like it leaves the ego in there just enough where I need that push to keep going and kind of believe in my enoughness. But it also takes the parts of the ego that don't serve me in that moment to truly lovingly detach and allow that moment to be truly what it is, and just to come from that pure, loving, service-based place.
Yes. Oh, this is so juicy. I have a tattoo on my wrist that says "Be here," so I'm just gonna cover up the E, sometimes, and then just be her.
Now. I do. I have it in journals. I have it on my mirror in my bathroom. I have it written on my desk. It's just be her now. It's that simple.
I love that. I have this future manifesto that I read every single day, and it has like my opening statement of like who she is, right? Of like I am a wealthy woman who is deeply connected to her aliveness and her love and blah blah blah. It's like this whole thing, and just reading that and feeling that and feeling that and feeling that, so that I can access it in those moments when I ain't her, because we all human, right? I love that. So good.
Do you notice that with your speaking? Because I know that you've allowed yourself to be her now.
Yeah.
And so, how is that? I'm just curious how that's come up for you with your speaking.
It's effortless, babe. It's freaking effortless. Like I recommitted to, because I took basically like a 6-year hiatus of like really going for it. Like that's how sort of my career popped off, is because I'm like, oh, I'm a speaker. Let me just go speak. And then boom, this business built around me. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm a CEO now. And I sort of disowned that part of me. And so, I made like a real clear declaration of like, I am owning that part of me again. I'm owning my speaker archetype, which is the truest thing to me. And it has been effortless. Like there's no other word for it. It's like I've given myself space to craft like really extraordinary keynotes and pitch them. And like the gigs that are coming through, I'm like, I can't make this shit up, you know? Like
Mm.
I got booked at like the first ever gig that I got booked after like my I'm coming back to her was doing the keynoting the annual conference for BMO, like that massive bank.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
like, all right, that was like a nudge from God, you know, being like, you got this, like, just let's keep going. So yeah, the only word that I can say is it's effortless and beautiful and feels so fun,
Mm. Fun.
you know?
That's what we want to drop into.
Right. And it's like that. And like one of my affirmations that I say in that future manifesto is like, the more I play, the more successful I become. It's like play for me is such a portal to, and when I say success, I don't mean like just money, although that's a part of it, but it's like success in life, like having a calendar that I love, you know, having
Yeah.
the ability to go to the lake and wake surf for 2 weeks nonstop without thinking about work. Like that feels like success. And the more I cultivate that energy, the more it just overflows into everything.
Mm.
Yeah, I used to live a very, like in my business, I used to live a very when then type of
Mm-hmm.
life, you know?
Same.
I'm
Yep.
like, I'm like, when we hit this revenue metric at this profit margin,
Yep.
and when this is, then I will, and it's like, what am I waiting for?
Waiting for.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I did too. I was a very have do be. Like once I have the
Yes.
thing, then I can do the thing and then I'll be the thing.
Mm.
And when I switched that to the, to the opposite of that, be do have versus have do be, and just like really being her now, it just the script changes. And when the script changes, everything changes.
Yes.
And we can control the script change. And when we do that, it's an interesting thing. The universe kind of takes care of the rest, but like all the characters in the script change and the parts that they play change, and it's all suited to serve your highest good when you are in true alignment and presence of that, and really speaking that into existence. That's why I also believe in like serving the highest version of me,
So good.
because I need to have that energy around me. I need to be her now so they can be them now, and then that's the frequency that we're living in.
Babe, that was such an unlock for me. Like, I'm so grateful you shared this on on the podcast because it's
Mm,
such an unlock for me. Like, that was so valuable. Thank you.
you're
So
welcome.
good. So good. I could talk to you for like 6 hours.
Well, we're going to,
I
because we're
know.
gonna.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. We should just
Oh,
like invite people. We could just podcast all day. We could sell tickets, you
that
know?
would be fun. Little group sesh. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, I am honored to know you. I'm so
Mm.
grateful that we're friends in this life, and I feel so grateful for the work that you're doing in the world. You're just so brilliant, and you just have this ability with your energy to just cut through illusion and really find truth for yourself, and then you have the gift of doing that for other people, and it's so life-giving. So thank you for that. And
Mm.
you just dropped so many love bombs and belly bombs on this audience. I'm so grateful. So thank you. Where can we get amongst you, get amongst your work? I know you have the accelerator going.
Yes. And thank you. And just thanks for being a mirror to that and being a match to that, because you're magical. So yes, I tend to hang out on Instagram the most. So at Jules, Juls Solomon, Solomon is where I'm gonna be most present social wise. I have a podcast, the Influencer Podcast. Name's probably gonna change soon, but anywhere that you listen or watch podcasts, every Wednesday we drop a new episode, so you can check out kind of just more of my flow, my vibe, my work, how I do things there. And then I have an accelerator program that is all about helping you accelerate your wealth, your revenue, and your business through a lot of the messaging archetypes that I have and the frameworks that I teach. But it's really rooted in more of that deeper identity recalibration refinement that we touched on a little bit today, and then some of the strategies around really, making sure that we're speaking to the right version of our avatar and the right phase of the journey that she's in, that we can support her with, and then the magic and the message that needs to support that. And so if you want to learn more about that, it's application based. You can go to juliesolomon.net/sam, SAM. Make it really easy for you guys to get access to that application. Just fill your information in. It's super easy. It's no pressure, anything like that. But that way we can really root into your brilliance and genius and see how we could potentially be in service of each other.
So good. Thank you so much, babe. We'll catch you
Thank
soon.
you.
Bye for now.